Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody? Hey, Tina, how are you? Getting some listings done tonight? Let's see. Be switching back and forth a lot. Let's see. Be switching back and forth a lot. One of these days I'll get the hang of this stuff. All right. Yes, I am live. I'm running a YouTube screen on the window next to my StreamYard screen. And I had to go over there and mute that other screen because there's a lag and it would mess things up. I'm hoping everybody got the message that I'm doing it at 6 o'clock tonight instead of 5:30 Pacific Standard Time at any rate. Let's see, Baldy Pal show should be ending pretty soon. No, they're still going pretty strong. But whenever they get finished, a lot of the people over there should come over to this side. This week, I did not take a bunch of notes on things to talk about. I did take a few notes, but I really didn't have time this past week to sit down and research the notes and flesh out my ideas on what to talk about. So it'd kind of be a free-for-all tonight. Hey, Coco and Chewy, how are you? Thank you for coming in. There's Kristen. Hey, how are you, ma'am? Did Baldy Pal show end? I know I got that answer wrong on that Rolex. I don't know why that thing would have went for that much money. That's ridiculous. It's an all stainless steel watch that doesn't even have a date. No, I did not catch the eBay update. I did get something in about a new promotion ad, and they want me to sign up for the beta, and they were going to give me $30 to sign up to use their new beta testing of their new ad promotion thing. Let me see if I can look at that email again real quick. I don't know how to share a screen, so I can't show you what I'm looking at, but nope, that's the wrong one. That's one where they showed me that I'm getting a refund on a label. eBay for business. Yeah, well, anyway, it's a new promoted listings advanced beta campaign. And they want me to sign up for it. And they're going to give me $30 credit for that. But yeah, I think they've got enough of my money for now. I think after all of the fees and promotions and mess like that, I am paying, I'll tell you exactly what percent of my sales are going. Yeah, right now, 35% of all my sales is going to somebody else's pocket. And that's even before cost of goods and before taxes. So 35% of the gross is going away. Hey, Ken, how are you? I need to start making regular videos again, I'm so stinking busy. I'm working 2 jobs with the eBay, and I still do watch repair. And for the past couple of weeks, sourcing has been just almost impossible. But over the last few days, I have filled up 5 IKEA bags full of stuff that I need to get listed. But I do promote all my listings. When I'm making up the draft, something is weird. They'll tell you what they give you a suggested ad rate for promoting. Like if it's 4.2, I'll do 4.3. But then when you go look at the your active listings list over to the far right, it will have promotions and what you're promoting at for that item, and it'll have the suggested rate there. Those 2 rates are always different. Ken, I just read everything. Everybody that's not Rob. Can you imagine if there was more than one of me? Sometimes I wish there was, so one of us could get some rest. My sales have started picking up, but I'm still more than 40% down, which is killing me. I smell cigarettes. My neighbor must be outside smoking. Hey, Cameron, how are you? Let me see how many people we got in here right now. Got 6 people in watching. I think Baldy Pal's going long tonight. Yeah. Mountain State Pickers, how are you? Anybody make any really good sales this week? Yeah, I've got a few to pack up myself for the night so I don't have to get up in the morning and do it. But I need to get some of this backstock inventory listed. Thought about taking a day off from the watch repair, but this time of year it really ramps up. Kind of hard to get away. Of course, everybody's leaving town next week, and they want me to do their stuff right now. And I keep telling them I'm 6 months backlog. Why are you coming into me just now? Not that they knew about my backlog, but still. I hear that story all the time, even when it's not holidays coming up. I won't have to hear it next year, though. October the 1st next year, I'm retired. Yeah, I can't walk and chew gum at the same time. Otherwise, I'd point this thing at my photo booth and I'd talk while I list. But I know better than to try that. I'd mess it all up. These little live shows are a good distraction from work for me. I enjoy hanging out with people who do this stuff. Two weeks ago, I had 4 returns back to back to back. Here's a little thing that you may not know. If you sell something large like a CRT, cathode ray tube, the old tube type televisions, you can't ship that USPS. Well, you can, but it costs an arm and a leg. You have to ship it out UPS, ground. So if you take a return on one of those things, you have to go buy a label and then upload the label and send it to the person that wants to return the item. I will not be selling CRT TVs anymore. Kristen, you need to come out to Oregon with me. We've got 2 bins within an easy drive of me. Don't do it in the winter though, because the second of the two bends is up and over a pass that has really bad roads. I really don't know if my bends would be a letdown for you. It's very small compared to what I see of the bends that you have or that you frequent, and the clothing is really picked over. No, Oregon's not too cold. Not here in the Rogue Valley. We kind of have a microclimate here. It never really gets that cold. Like right now, the sun's completely down and it's only 46. Yeah, the Roseburg thrifting is not all that good, Cameron. Last two times I went, I didn't. I think I left almost completely empty-handed. I'd go up to Seven Feathers to the campground there. I have a nice camper trailer, and we like to go up there and spend the weekend sometimes. And I'll run up to Roseburg, try to do a little thrifting. But the Salvation Army store there is not good at all. Never has been. And the Goodwill has gotten ridiculous with their pricing. I want to get up to the Portland bins. I just don't like Portland. We've had a little bit of snow here, nothing that stuck though. We may see snow that sticks 2 or 3 times a year here where I live. Unfortunately, one of those 2 or 3 times, it'll be pretty bad. I expect the temperature to get down in the 30s tonight. It has almost every night for the last 4 or 5 nights. Thankfully, I went and winterized my trailer I was just talking about. Wow. But Kristen, the good thing about Medford is I live like a mile and a half, 2 miles from the airport, and probably 5 miles from the bins. They're not bad bins. I almost always find something. The 2 trips back, I completely loaded my cart with clothing, and I've never done that. I rarely ever get more than 4 or 5 clothing items. And when I went to check out, I don't know if the girl there, she's one of the workers there, checked me out. I don't know if she just likes me or what, but she keeps giving me big discounts. So I got a cart completely stuffed full with clothing items and $16 and 40 something cents. I've heard the Portland bins are good. I'm sure that somewhere in the coming year, I'll have a reason to go up there. My wife works for a hospital that is their headquarters is in Portland. She has to go up there occasionally for training or something. So next time she goes up there, I'll go with her and I'll spend the day at Ben's while she's doing her training. She did it to me again yesterday. It wasn't quite full. It was 15 or 16 pounds, and I paid $15. So I don't flirt with it. We do shoot the breeze. We had something in common. I used to have a really terrible neighbor, and she still has a terrible neighbor. Oh, Kristen, we were talking about the smells at the bins. Oh, Lord. Day before yesterday when I was there were at least 3 people there that were chain smokers who you could tell they had not showered in quite some time. And I could not get away from them. I'd I'd find a little spot where I couldn't smell them, and it wouldn't be just a couple of minutes one of them would walk past me. Hey, Alex, how are you? You ever list them video consoles you found a while back? The one before that was even worse. And thankfully, I didn't get anything out of that clothing bin in my cart. It was full old, rank urine. I had to immediately stop in front of the bathroom and scrub from my elbows down. About the only thing worse than the occasional bad smell is when you reach down into the bottom of the bin and you find something wet and sticky. Or when you dig in a pocket looking for a tag or something and you don't know what it was you just grabbed. Still working with the Betamax. Are you selling some of that stuff? Doing good with it? Yeah, reaching into the bins and grabbing something wet. Oh, it's just nasty. Just don't smell your fingers when you do that. One of these days, I'll remember to put one of those little packs of wet wipes in my pocket. Yeah. Trying to remember if I found anything great. I've still got 2 IKEA bags that I filled up, and I honestly don't remember what all I got. I used to keep some of the wet wipes in my truck, but the last time I had my truck worked on, they wanted me to completely clean it out, and I still haven't put everything back in. Dang, $1,000 a day on Betamax. I think I have a Betamax copy of E.T., which was the first home viewing version of that movie you could get. And it stayed unavailable for a long time. Those things used to bring big money, but ever since the DVD of it came out, you can't hardly give away an ET VHS or Betamax tape. Yeah, we have there at the they have bottles of the hand sanitizer all over the place, and they've got the bathroom with soap. So I was in the Navy as a pipe fitter, so and I'm an old country boy, so uh, it doesn't bother me too much. I mean, it's not pleasant by any stretch of the imagination. Hey, Christopher, how are you? You're not too late, brother. Little Miss Q is in the house. I've had a hard time this past week staying up to date on everybody's videos. I've just been so stinking busy. Yeah, hey, Jennifer, how are you? Yeah, I'm. When I say an old country boy, I mean it. I grew up in the woods, wood burning stove, splitting firewood every day, baling hay, make extra money, that kind of stuff. Going out and getting the eggs from the chicken pen. My grandmother would raise, if it had feathers on it, she raised them by the thousands. You want to talk about smells? Process a couple of hundred chickens in one day. You won't be able to eat chicken for a while. We used to have that problem, Mountain State, at ours, but they built a big, brand new building just on the outskirts of town. And the type of people who do that, they won't walk that far. You know, there's a lot to be said about living in the country, but you better know how to be self-sufficient or have a really, really high-paying job that you can afford to go to or work from home. It's not easy living in the woods. Oh yeah. My granny would look out some days and decide she had too many birds on the yard, she'd call it. And we'd need to build a fire and get the big cast iron cauldron full of water and get it boiling so we could pluck chickens. Wet chicken feathers is a smell that is unmistakable. It smells like burnt bologna. And when we'd get done for the day, you'd go in the house. Guess what Granny would be cooking for dinner? You'd be starving to death, but you couldn't force yourself to eat a bite of chicken. Hey, Angie, how are you? Hey, I got my fudge and that Christmas present in for my wife. Well, 2 out of the 3 Let's Do Lunch podcast girls are here. Only missing, but it is Wednesday night, so she's probably at church. The one thing I miss about living in the country is having your nearest neighbor be at least half a mile away. Hey, Chrissy, how are you? I'm starting to get some of these names down. Angie, did they, are you still on eBay, in eBay jail? It takes me a while to get names down. I'm good with faces and I'm good with watches. I looked at a watch today that I serviced 6 years ago and recognized the watch. Hi, Ping. How are you? Gulf Coast Pickers, Ryan is here. And I'm glad you folks come to hang out with me. Ah. And we've only got one of the 2 squirrels tonight, but it's the original OG squirrel, so that's all right. And let's switch back over here for just a second. 16 of us watching now. I sold a couple of good sales today. Let me pull that up. I know one of them was either a VCR or a combo unit. Just pull up all orders. It may take a second for that to come up. It was a combo unit. I just picked it up a couple of days ago and got it listed, and it sold today for $76.49 plus shipping. One of the remote controls I picked up at Ben's 3 or 4 days ago is already sold for $10. A pair of jeans and a hat that I've already sold and had returned. Those were 2 of the 4 returns. They sold again. Some watch ports for $45. Other than that, just small bread and butter items. All the $15 to $35 items are moving pretty fast, or moving every day. Huh. Ping, these dadgum YouTube notifications, they've never worked for me. If I do get a notification, sometimes it's 3 hours after a show has already aired. So anymore I get on and I click on subscriptions and or live and just see who I can find. Some of them I just know, like Joey Bada Bing's show is on Monday night. Cats is on Tuesday night. I wonder if it's because I'm not monetized that you can't do the all notifications for my channel. I don't know. Kristen, I think you've been doing online reselling probably 6 months to a year longer than me. I don't know if it was late 97 or early 98 when I started my first eBay account. Hey, Paul, how are you? Well, that's good to know. It's like I said, notifications on YouTube is just screwy. Mine have never worked. Paul says he has all of mine turned on for through his account. So, Angie, you've been doing it about as long as I have then. If you were talking about eBay and not YouTube. I have no idea how old my YouTube channel is. I know it's more than 10 years old. I know it's been about that long since I did a regular video. Christopher, you've been at it a bit. Paul, you were still in Ukraine in 98? Yeah, my first account was also a shared account, Kristen. It was with a business partner I had at the time. That lasted for a couple of years. And then I more or less took over the account. And then I noticed that he was getting on there. And when he and I parted ways, it was not a good parting. So I went ahead and canceled that account and started a new one for myself. And I guess that was 15 years ago. Yeah, the one good thing about that business partner back then was he actually owned a internet service provider company. So I always had good internet as far as it was back then. It was dial up, but we had a trunk line right there at the building. But it wasn't a day when you had to wait for cash, check, or money order to come in before you had to ship. I don't remember ever getting any returns back then, though. And it was straight auctions. I can't remember when they started with the buy it nows. Paul, it won't be long. You'll be having to pack that truck up and head for Florida. I haven't been able to catch one of Paul's lives in a pretty good while now, a few weeks at least. My dogs do not like the cold weather. I have to physically pick them up and carry them outside and set them in the grass. Well, I guess I haven't been missing them, have I, Paul? Hey, Paul, I came up with an idea for my very first merch. It's going to be a T-shirt, and it's going to say "Still Not Kyle." Ah, we went a little bit long on that one. I think I had to tell the story too. I'm constantly telling that story. Paul, what part of the state are you moving to in Florida? Is it going to be south, central, northern, or panhandle? We're not getting the snow here, Chrissy. We're getting rain off and on, so it's just kind of wet and nasty. It was clear, bright blue skies today, but it's the first time we've had good sunlight in a couple of weeks. I don't mind. Yeah, Paul, the good part. So you're not moving to Florida? I used to live right on the Florida Georgia border on the in southeast Georgia, little place called St. Mary's, exit 2 off of I-95. And there was a massive flea market just on the Florida side, right on I-95. I used to go to it quite a bit. Sarasota. Okay. I may come down and visit you in a year or two. I think I'm missing something in the chat. I will. My dad was living in Florida in Plant City, and he passed a few years ago, or about 3 years ago now. And I need to get down there and visit with my sisters and go visit with him. February. It's about the coldest part of the time here, Paul. You buy me a plane ticket, and I'll come help you. Has to be round trip, though. Medford, Oregon. I was just telling the chat that I live about 2 miles from the airport. Paul, there's got to be somebody willing to help you that you don't have to fly them all the way across the continent. And there is a Medford airport. I'm telling you, I live. Let me pull it up. Yeah, Rogue Valley International Medford Airport. 1000 Terminal Loop Parkway, Medford, Oregon. Let me see if I can do this. Copy. Control V. You probably tell me I can't put that long of a. I took up two of them. Tell me if that worked. Oh, that was the Google search. Sorry. Pull up the website. There it is. Called the Jackson County. Oh. Yeah, Paul. There you go. Get somebody with a big barbecue grill out there, and you'll be disappointed if you come here. The thrifting is not that good, and neither are the hotels. But you're within an hour's drive of some of the most beautiful sites in America. About an hour away is Crater Lake, and go about an hour and 15 the other direction, and you're on in the Redwoods, which is right on the coast. So you got the Oregon coast. And I know where there's a bunch of waterfalls hidden in the woods here and there. Rogue Valley International Medford Airport. That's what it's called. $400 round trip. Really? That's all? Cool. I used to have a friend. He was a paint and body guy. He'd get people every once in a while. I'd tell him he's having a block party at his place. What he was talking about was block sanding cars that he had painted. Yeah, I don't know how many years ago that was, Ping, but in the last 5 or 6 years, the homeless and vagrancy problem here has really escalated, and it's pretty rough. No, Paul, I said it, so I'll man of my word. If you need me to come out in February and help you unload and move in, I'll do it. Oh, you got enough room to keep that many people? I'm trying to, let me look at something here. Look at the map for Sarasota, Florida. If I remember right, it's on the Gulf side. Oh, yeah, you're ways down there. Yeah, Ping, I know you do. The entire I-5 corridor is rough and getting worse daily. One of the bad things about here in Medford is the local police have been instructed not to arrest them. And the local DA's office is foregoing pursuing any charges. So it makes it an already tough situation even worse. Well, one good thing about that area, Paul, is there should be some really good seafood there. You might even want to try your hand at fishing. Charter one of the charter fishing boats. I don't know if you want Jake packing your items. Yeah, Paul, you see food, you eat it. Matt, I don't know if I said hello yet. I don't remember seeing you come in, but thanks for being here, brother. Appreciate you. Paul, do you get seasick? We have shelters here in Medford, but most of them refuse to go there because they have to be clean and sober. We have a really bad drug problem here between the fentanyl and the heroin and the meth. Coco and Chewy, thank you for the Instagram. Appreciate that. Christopher, I saw earlier today that you posted about the live show tonight on your Instagram, and I appreciate that. There is a right across the street from my watch repair shop. There is one of those little almost pay by the hour type little motels, and there's a lot of bad stuff. We've already had two incidents where between the two incidents, maybe three people, three people have been murdered, and they won't shut the place down. And what's bad is they come across the street into our parking lot, and I'm going to tell you, it gets pretty rough. One good thing about being a reseller, I've got a reason to have golf clubs and baseball bats in the back seat of my truck. Paul, are you still sourcing? With a move coming up this quick, the scariest part is about the situation in this town is that a lot of it could be prevented. Oh, you'd be surprised how dumb some of them can get, Mountain State Picker. But when they're on some of those bad drugs, they don't make good decisions. Paul, how many items do you have currently listed in your store on average on a regular basis? Hmm. So between 7,000 and 7,500 is like your average number of listed items in your store. That's a lot to pack up and move. I hope you've got your bin and SKU system up and running, because that'll make setting back up easier. I'm normally around anywhere from 575 to 650. Currently, I have, let's see, 589 listings. And over the last 90 days, I have sold 533. So nearly 100% sell through. I started a sale this morning because it ended last night, and I know that I have about 115 items that have been listed for more than a year. All you have a life. It's a reseller life. Well, I know something I need to take care of. Paul, I don't know if I've given you a wrench yet. I have not. There we go. The Wawa will miss you. I don't think they have Wawa in Florida. Paul, you better not. They have Wawa in Florida. I thought that was just like a Northeast thing. Would that have been a deal breaker, Paul, if they didn't? I don't have Wawa or Buc-ee's up here in the Pacific Northwest. I think we have a Flying J truck stop down the road, though. Well, they're not in Oregon. Okay, you're right. Let me get over here and let me find where she is at so I can give her that wrench. There we go. Oh, dadgummit, it jumped. There you go, Chrissy. Marie, I think you're right. I think they did change it to pilot. It's the truck stop that has the iron skillet. We go out there for breakfast on the weekends once in a while. Wait, Angie, I ate every bit of that fudge. I tried to split it with my wife, but she got mad at me, so I ate it all. Have a good one, Paul. It is pretty good fudge there. I know there was something that happened to me on eBay this week that I wanted to tell you guys about. And now my computer wants to freeze. There we go. Any of you guys have one of the Habitat for Humanity restore thrifting stores near you? We have one up the road from me, and every once in a while I find some pretty good stuff in there. I found a garage door control panel type thing in a blister pack, one of the plastic things that are sealed around the edges. Paid $4 for it, and yesterday sold it to somebody overseas through the global shipping program for $80. The Variety Flipper. Hey, buddy, how are you? Yeah, I find a lot of good stuff there. Well, not a lot, but the wife and I go in there every other weekend or so, and I almost always leave with a few things. But when I do find stuff there, it can be really good. And when I go to the restore, I don't look for the normal reseller stuff. I look for the weird stuff, old tools, not like wrenches, pipe wrenches, and hammers and saws. What like electrical switches that have a barcode I can scan, or electrical components, or old tools. I found a tool there here a while back. It's actually it's a thing for setting the gap on the spark plugs for airplanes from like 50, 60 years ago. And I think I sold that thing for $75. But speaking of saws, though, the old hand saws, there was a craze there for a while, people painting on them scenes. But here's something that you might not know about them. If you find some of the older ones that have the big brass bolt heads on them that are decorative, you can actually sell the hardware off of that saw for some pretty good money. I've seen some of those hardware things sell for $20, $30, and you can pick those saws up for $2 to $5. Yeah, they do get electronics in there. Mine has started overpricing them. Like just one of the older, I don't even remember what brand it is, but one of the older VCRs that has only the 2 RCA jacks, not the 3, and it's all metal, and they want like $25 for it. So I will glance quickly at the electronics there, but like I said, when I'm in there, I'm looking for the weird stuff. I found a box full of fishing reels there one time. Most of them were just junk, weren't worth anything. But I think I pulled 3 of them out of there. 2 of them were the older style pins. One of them was a Garcia Mitchell 300 spinning reel, and I think I got on an average $30 or $40 a piece for those fishing reels. Yeah, I love finding weird stuff. I have a tool that I found at the restore. Here it is. When I say weird stuff, I'm talking about stuff like this. Let me get something behind it so that the camera will focus. This thing. It's got a big spring around it. And it had that piece of paper that was folded up and stuck inside the spring. And it has numbers on it. Turns out this is an auto mechanics tool. It's called a ridge reamer, a cylinder ridge reamer. And I know what it is. I just never seen one that looked like this. And I think that thing sells for $80 to $100. Yeah, Julian and I like a lot of the same stuff. I like old fishing reels because when I was a kid, before I started working on watches, I started out working on fishing reels. And where I'm from in East Texas, I was halfway between 2 of the biggest bass fishing lakes in the world. One of them was Lake Sam Rayburn. The other one was Toledo Bend Reservoir. And there's no such thing as a weekend on those 2 lakes where there's not at least one bass fishing tournament. I used to see weeks where I would actually make more money working on fishing reels than I did working on Rolex watches. So I kind of have a soft spot for fishing reels. So I pick them up, I can clean them up and repair them. Oh, there's almost always a golf shirt in a thrift store. So shouldn't be too hard to get him to go thrifting with you, Tina. Yeah, cabinet pulls. I like weird stuff. This, that thing there is not on any reseller's BOLO list. I doubt there's ever been one on a reseller video on YouTube. But I see something weird like that, I pick it up, and if I can find some way to identify it, Google Lens helps. But between Google Lens and a part number somewhere on it, you can identify some of this stuff. And when you look it up, it's amazing how much some of this stuff is worth. The fish are always biting if you know how to catch them. I think one of these days when I actually retire, I'm going to move back down south because I do miss fishing. Fishing up here in the Pacific Northwest in the rivers is a totally different thing than fishing where I'm from. Well, folks, we have been on for an hour. It's getting kind of cold out here. I think when we started, it was 46 degrees. It has now dropped to 42 degrees. And my little bitty heater is not keeping up. So I think I'm going to call it at night. I appreciate each and every one of you coming in. And I'll see you next Wednesday. Remember, we're a half hour later now. I start at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which should be 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And those of you who live somewhere in between, I'm betting you can figure it out. So good night, everybody. And once again, thank you for being here.